can Mario Odyssey be beaten with no jumps, no coins, and no Cappy? Well, yes, and it's been done before, but until now, it's never been pushed to its limits. Now, for those of you who aren't already familiar with this category, here's a quick rundown of the rules. No jumps. Well, this means we can't jump. Now, a jump is defined as anything that increments the jump counter. If the jump counter doesn't increment, it's not a jump, no matter how much it looks like a jump. No coins. Now, I know it's shocking, but this means we can't collect coins. No Cappy. Now, okay, this one is kind of misleading. There's a counter that tracks how many times Cappy has been thrown by Mario. But this game kind of has a thing called two-player mode where you can control Cappy with a second controller. And when doing so, you can do a twirl with Mario. Now this twirl doesn't increment the counter and essentially replaces normal cap throws. So yes, we're technically using Cappy, but according to the game, we're not. So now the question is, how many moons can be gotten with these added restrictions? And surprisingly, it's way more than you would think, but it's not an easy task. The very first difficult moon is this frog moon in Cap Kingdom. You would think that using the frog is the obvious solution, but you actually can't reach the moon without hitting this block, and unfortunately, that gives us a coin. So to get this moon, we had to get creative. Games Jam discovered that if you fly a Paragoomba slowly into this sloped wall, you can actually gain some height. However, if you accidentally fly too fast for even just 1 second, you'll lose all your height instantaneously. But if you manage to gain enough height by not messing up the timing, you can actually fly over and barely reach the moon.
Very hard to read.
Okay, so...
Oh, I got it. Oh my gosh.
Oh
What?
shit.
I did not...
GG.
On the attempt, I couldn't even see where I was going. In Sand Kingdom, there's a lot of really cool and unique tricks. But before we can do anything, we first have to get peace in the kingdom. Now, we can't go through the pyramid normally because we can't jump in the 2D sections. But luckily, there is a trick that allows us to climb the pyramid from the outside called IP skip. With some precise movement, we can bounce from this icicle and land on the side of the pyramid. And from here, we can walk off and dive to the outside ledge. Now, with a precise dive, we can clip right through this wall and make our way to the top of the pyramid to start the Sand Kingdom story. So now that we have peace, the first set of moons worth mentioning is this Gushen sub-area. Normally, you would just fly down these tunnels with a Gushen to reach the end, but as you can see, each tunnel is filled with coins. However, the Gushen's hitbox actually changes size depending on how much water it has left. Using this, we can actually squeeze above these coins and reach the end. But there's still the secret moon in this sub-area, and the Gushen seemingly doesn't have near enough water to reach it. But there is an obscure fact about this game that actually makes this possible. When using assist mode, a Gushen loses its water much slower than when in regular mode. And because of this, we actually have enough time and water to reach the second moon. Next up is a moon that takes advantage of a very weird exploit. This Jaxi sub-area is fairly easy for the most part, but this last runway is blocked by several cacti that all give us coins when we run into them. However, these cacti do get unloaded if the camera isn't directly facing towards them. Knowing this, we realized we could use snapshot mode to bring the camera far enough away to unload the cacti and then quickly buffer the camera to move forward a tiny bit without reloading them. This takes a long time, but with enough patience, you can eventually reach the end of the runway without hitting a single cacti.
Wait, do you have to unload like the whole thing of cactuses?
Yeah.
Oh, that's rough.
It doesn't seem hard, it just seems kind of long.
Yeah. Okay, I think I got it, but I'm just like, I'm playing it so safe.
Yo, I'm pausing. Oh, what do you mean? I think I got it. Bro is like a billion years past the...
Let's go. The next moon is honestly one of the coolest moons I've seen in any category. This cactus reveals a moon once you break it, but the only way to actually break the cactus is by running into it while riding a Jaxi. It seems easy enough until you realize that in order to actually ride the Jaxi, you need to pay him 30 coins. And we can't do that. Now, despite this, we do actually have a way of moving the Jaxi. If you run into the Jaxi with Glide On and on capture, the Jaxi will begin sliding on the ground. But unfortunately, the Jaxi can't break the cactus just by sliding into it. We actually need to be riding the Jaxi. But as it turns out, there actually is a way to do this. If you redirect the sliding Jaxi to slide into this particular spot, a cutscene will begin that gives you a moon. And when the cutscene ends, Jaxi actually becomes mountable. However, there's still one last major problem. All 4 cacti that are next to the one with the moon contains a coin. This means that we can't just run into the cacti from the side. And if we run into it head on, the cactus flies into the void, which doesn't spawn the moon. But we figured out that how far the cactus flies is actually based on how fast you run into it. So by unmounting the Jaxi the same frame the cactus gets hit, the cactus falls straight down onto the ground since it was hit with little to no speed. And after all that, we can finally grab the moon.
Well, how is he actually doing cats at the moment?
No, he stopped streaming.
Did he?
Yeah. He had to go
Oh, I think I got it.
do something.
I got it.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
Let's go.
GG.
Yeah, the shake break really
Wait,
helps. I didn't know that was a thing.
Do you have to ground pound midair like that, or can you just like mount?
No, you don't have to. Wooded Kingdom also has some interesting moons of its own. Normally, you're required to kill this fire bro to reveal a moon, but killing the fire bro gives us a coin, so you would think this moon to be impossible. But that's not gonna stop us. If you clip Cappy through this wall, you can capture the fire bro, and if you simply uncapture him, he'll eventually despawn. And since we technically didn't kill him, it doesn't give us a coin, which makes this moon possible. Another interesting moon is this one right here. To spawn the moon, you're required to hit this UFO 2 times, but every time it gets hit, it kills all of the surrounding Goombas, which gives us coins. So to prevent this, we can capture all of the Goombas, drop them in the void, and unload them mid-air by turning the camera away from them. And as long as they stay unloaded, they obviously can't be killed, which allows us to get the moon. Next up is Koopa freerunning, and these race moons are some of the most fun moons to get in this run. In the Wooded Kingdom race, we can't go through the maze because it's too slow of a route to get first place, so we're forced to cross this giant gap. And normally, we could just use 2-player mode to do this, but 2-player mode is actually not allowed in Koopa freerunning. Now, this jump is possible with an uproot, but capturing the uproot is a problem in and of itself. You see, for some reason, when you throw Cappy while standing directly next to a capture, the counter doesn't increment. But the uproots are different. Since they wear a pot on their head, when throwing Cappy, it knocks the pot off instead of immediately capturing them. And this unfortunately does increment the Toadette counter. But there actually is a way to prevent this from happening. If you throw Cappy and then immediately take damage, it knocks the pot off, but cancels the cap throw before the counter increments. This allows us to capture the uproot and make the jump to the end while still keeping all the counters at 0. In Metro Kingdom, we encounter our first missable moon. If you forget to get this Gerda moon in Night Metro, you can actually no longer get it without collecting coins. And this moon is only possible due to a weird mechanic in 2-player mode. As it turns out, in 2-player mode, Cappy can't collect coins when they're off screen. So, if we lure a Goomba past all of these coins, we can then simply fly Cappy through the off-screen coins to then capture the Goomba on the other side and get the moon. Joy-Con made that sound like it was gonna be really hard. The coolest moon in Snow Kingdom is this Scarecrow room. Now, this moon is already difficult jumpless, so getting it without coins and cap throws as well makes it a lot harder. We first have to do a ground pound jump in the water, which for some reason doesn't increment the jump counter. Then, we have to bonk into this wall at the perfect time so that Mario gets hit by the Goomba at his highest point. And the knockback from the Goomba will then push Mario up onto this ledge. But if Mario doesn't get pushed back far enough, he'll accidentally kill the Goomba when standing up and give us a coin. So it's a lot harder than it looks. Now we have to do a series of wall jumps and dives to get to this tunnel. And this tunnel is filled with a ton of coin rings with no way around them. But surprisingly, if you bring the camera close to you, the coin rings will become unloaded and we can simply swim right through them. After this, we do another series of wall jumps and dives until we reach the very top. And finally, by diving into this pole at the right angle and letting go, you can clip through the wall and fall onto the moon from above. Where the heck is this moon? Where the heck is it? Oh, it's not locked anymore. Ah! Wait, now it's locked. No! Ah! Oh my gosh. Thank you. Moving on to Seaside Kingdom, it gets difficult very quickly. When fighting the boss moves freely around the kingdom as you chase it. However, whenever it runs into a Gushin, it immediately kills it, which gives you a coin. And this happens a lot. So to counteract this, we can keep the camera close to us to prevent any of the Gushins from being loaded. But during the boss fight, the camera is constantly trying to pan back over to the boss, which makes it very difficult to never accidentally load a Gushin that's about to be killed. But with enough trial and error, it is actually possible to complete the entirety of the boss fight without ever having the boss kill even just one Gushin. That was so stressful. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Now that the boss has been defeated, we can move on to another tricky moon. In this sub-area, Burbos will begin to spawn once you walk across a certain threshold. And once this starts, you will almost definitely get a coin since the Burbos will repeatedly get killed by the rolling bombs. But even if you somehow could cross the room without getting a coin, when you redirect the bombs into these blocks, the blocks give you a coin. However, despite all of this, this moon is actually possible. We can start by flinging ourselves across the side of the wall, since the Burbos won't start spawning until we actually stand on the ground. And once we reach the blocks, we simply have to poke them. A lot. Yeah, so as it turns out, if you poke the block like 200 times, the block will break without giving you a coin. Why? I have no idea, but it works. Now, the first block is obviously the hardest since you don't really have a place to stand. But after breaking the first one, the rest are a piece of cake, and we can easily grab the moon. Wow! Oh. I did not know that was gonna happen. That was scary. Yay! Luncheon Kingdom also has one of the hardest boss fights in this run. Throughout the fight, there's tons of potatoes floating in the lava, and if you accidentally touch even just one of them, you get a coin. And if that wasn't hard enough, the boss also randomly launches projectiles that can collide with the potatoes at any point and give you a coin. So not only do you have to perfectly avoid every potato, but you also have to get lucky enough to not have a projectile collide with one. Yes! Yes! I swear if I hit a potato before I get the multi-moon, I'm gonna cry. Oh no. Yay! Next up is the Koopa freerunning race, and it is extremely difficult. So rather than explaining it, I just think I'll let you see it for yourself. Yes! Let's go! Let's go! Yes! Yes! Before moving on to Bowser's Kingdom, I want to quickly mention a moon in Ruined. Now, I'm not even going to attempt to explain what's going on here because it's pretty complicated. But essentially, to avoid having to go through the 2D section where you would normally have to jump, we do a glitch called a CRC that teleports Cappy to the very top, skipping over it, which I think is really cool. Next up is a moon that's only possible on 1.0, that being the infamous TCO. Now, if you don't know what TCO is, it's a moon that's located in the middle of the void. And since we can't collect coins, we can't get the moon the intended way by using the pylon. So, we have to do the nut jump glitch, where you throw a wet nut midair, bounce on it, re-grab it, and repeat the process over and over again until you're high enough to reach the moon. Now, this trick is extremely hard, but luckily, since it was patched out on 1.3 and I'm on 1.3, I didn't have to do it. Moon Kingdom surprisingly has quite a few really cool moons. The first of which is the moon on top of the cannon. Normally, when flying to get this moon, it's impossible to reach without getting a coin somewhere off screen as a result of one of the bonsai bills. But we figured out that only 4 bonsai bills can be spawned at any given time. So, if we allow all 4 to be spawned and redirect them, as long as we reach the moon before they die and allow more to spawn, we can get it without collecting any coins. Oh yeah, true. Most of you probably already know that this 2D section is possible jumpless by using 2P Cappy's hover mechanic. But the last tunnel is filled with coins that we normally just can't avoid. But these can actually be avoided by simply going out of bounds. Yes! Oh my gosh. You were here! Nice. Next up is one of my favorite moons in the run. When talking to this NPC, he tells you that he needs a doctor. So normally, you would just simply go to the shop and buy the doctor outfit. But we're kind of broke, so that's not an option. Now luckily, there's actually another way to get the doctor outfit. All you have to do is buy a Dr. Mario amiibo. Yeah, so if you just scan this amiibo in-game, it just gives you the outfit for free. Well, not for free, I had to spend $17. But Mario didn't have to spend a dime. The last moon of interest in this kingdom is once again Koopa freerunning. The race is fairly easy for the most part until you reach the last wall. Now we could just wall jump up if we could start the wall jump, but we can't jump. However, Minty discovered that if you wall jump directly above the ground, it actually refreshes your wall jump. So if we start on the edge and chain these together, we can actually make it across the wall. Yes, come on. Oh my gosh, I almost just choked that. Oh. Okay, it's over. It's over. I almost severely just choked that. Now, to finish things off, there's one last moon worth mentioning, and fittingly, it's in Darkside. And of course, I'm talking about the boss rush. For those of you who don't know, Darkside has a boss rush where you have to beat Topper, Harriet, Spewart, Rango, and the mech all back to back. And normally, this isn't too hard to do, but beating all of these bosses without jumping, throwing Cappy, or collecting even just one coin is very difficult. Every time you hit one of the boss's heads, a coin ring briefly appears around them. So to make things easier, we can just wait for the coins to despawn before we continue the fight. And admittedly, with enough practice, the 4 brutal fights leading up to the mech fight aren't too bad. But of course, the hardest of the boss fights is the very last one. Whenever you hit one of these bubbles on the mech, a giant sound wave pushes you back and kills everything in range of it. And given that there's 3 Hammer Bros in range of the mech, they always die and give us coins. And not to mention, the mech also launches projectiles that can kill the Hammer Bros at any moment. But the strat we use to prevent getting coins is insanely smart. First, we get every bubble down to just 1 hit. Then, we juggle capturing the Hammer Bros and bring all 3 of them to the center. And then, we uncapture and make our way to the top of the mech. And after that, we just wait for all 3 of them to despawn. And in that very short window where they respawn, we hit the first bubble. And since they weren't technically alive, they couldn't be killed and give us coins. And now that that's over, we only have to do that 3 more times. Oh, and keep in mind that if we get even just 1 coin, we have to redo every fight leading up to the mech, making this the most stressful boss fight in the run. I don't know what to do. I guess I can't really capture the other one, so I just gotta go for it. Oh! That was stupid. That was so stressful. Crazy. And with that, it's time to reveal the final moon count. Now, we can check our Toadette counters to ensure each counter is still at 0. And after depositing our last moon, we can see that the maximum amount of moons you can get is a whopping 764. Now, of course, I only have 763 because I'm on 1.3 and the glitch required to get TCO has been patched out. But like, close enough, right?